push, pull, split, anterior, posterior split, or full body split? Which is best? Watch this.
Our next caller is Brittany from California.
Hi, Brittany. How can we help you?
Hello. So first off, just like everyone else, I want to say how much I appreciate you guys in this podcast. I came from climbing full time, so going into a normal gym was very intimidating for me. So I just want to say you guys have made me feel a lot more confident going into a pretty intimidating space.
Awesome.
Oh, great.
Yeah, just want to appreciate that. So on to my question. I've been doing an anterior / posterior full body split for the last 2 months. And just to kind of switch up from my usual 5-day split of, quads, glutes, push, pull, a little bit of cardio in there. And I feel like the majority of women really love their leg days. And I don't. Coming from climbing background, I love my upper body days. So this split has been a pretty fun switch up from the usual with just sprinkling in some legs. But something I've been struggling with is just whether or not I'm getting enough recovery with doing anterior and posterior days back to back. And I do have a low steady state cardio day in between that block, but I still just worry if this is even sustainable and if I'm getting enough recovery. So the overarching question is, when does the anterior posterior full body split make sense to implement? And how do you ensure that you're getting enough recovery?
There's a lot of factors that, by the way, climbing is way scarier than a gym. Yeah. There's a lot of factors that will contribute to recovery and your body's ability to adapt. So it's hard. It's typically not just the split, right? So what does your workout look like for the week? Let's start there. So let's start with Monday and let's go all the way through the last workout of the week.
Yeah. So Monday, I usually start as an anterior. Then the next day is a posterior. Wednesday, low steady state cardio. Thursday, anterior. Friday, posterior. And then Saturday, maybe another low steady state cardio day. And then a recovery day on Sunday, usually.
Okay. And how many sets are you doing per body part on that?
Probably about 4 sets for the first 3 exercises, which are usually compound. So
okay, and so anterior, you're looking at quads, for example. Okay, how many sets for quads would you do on that day?
Probably 6 to 8 total, okay. Probably.
So that would be 12 to 16 for the week, right? Because you're going to double that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And now, why are you asking about recovery? What are you noticing? Are you noticing that you're feeling like you can't recover well? You're getting a little sore.
Yeah. Well, and especially, going from an anterior the day before and then trying to go hard on, my other leg exercises the next day. It's like, man, I feel like I'm really not able to put out what I would want to the next day since I'm still using some capacity of my legs.
Of course.
What led you to want to do a split like that where you split the front to back, just for the audience who doesn't know what anterior posterior means too? So what made you do that?
Side to side.
Yeah. It was really just the variety for me and not loving the full-on leg days. I found myself dreading just going in and having to annihilate my legs. So I liked just kind of sprinkling it in along with upper body. So then I was just overall excited to have that day in general.
Yeah, I think you're going to love MAPS Anabolic. I'd love for you to run MAPS Anabolic, and you're going to get exactly that. You're only really doing, one main exercise for your legs every day. It's going to be like a big compound lift, like the either squat or
3 full body workouts a week with trigger sessions on the days in between. But okay, so there's a couple ways you do this. I think Adam's right. MAPS Anabolic would be great for you. If you're feeling like you're overtrained and starting to get burned out, you probably are. Where you probably are going too hard too often. Now with the current split that you have, there's a couple ways you could do it. You could lower the volume, you could lower the intensity, you could alternate either. So it could be something like Monday hard, Tuesday easy, then you go back to Thursday easy, Friday hard. So the anterior day once a week is hard and once a week is easy, and the posterior day workout during the week, since there's 2 of each, one of them is hard, one of them's easy, and you want to pair hard and easy, hard and easy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so that's one way. That's one way to play around with what you're currently doing. Okay. Now, that's without me knowing all the details. And it would take a long time for me to go through your workout and look at everything. But that's without me knowing any other details. I bet you if we send you MAPS Anabolic and you just follow that, it'll blow your mind.
Yeah.
I think if you do that, you're going to be like, okay, this is a total game changer. So if we send that to you, will you follow it?
Oh, absolutely. I've been thinking about it for forever. So
Done deal. Let me send that to you. Do the advanced version, which is 3 days, 3 full body workouts. Do the trigger sessions in between, and you'll be set.
We could patch whatever you're doing together, but I think this will like totally set you straight.
Totally.
Sure,
Yes.
Sometimes too, even though we didn't address this, sometimes recovery too has to do with what you're doing nutritionally, like
or sleep.
Yeah, of course, right? So if I don't know if you're in a calorie deficit right now, are you good about hitting your protein intake? What does that kind of look like?
yeah, I definitely shoot for I think like a gram of protein per pound of body weight. Like that's definitely a big focus, but I have been kind of in a deficit through the summer. So
you're more likely to overtrain when you're in a deficit. Although a surplus won't cure every hard workout.
That's right.
So so it does make a difference. But the workout makes a big difference also. It must be interesting for you because I've trained climbers before.
Oh, really?
Yes, I have. And to be successful at bouldering or climbing, you essentially need to have very mobile, small legs and very strong hands, upper body, back. In order to perform really well. How long did you climb for?
Strength to weight ratio is going to be
probably about 8 to 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I bet
so it's a big switch.
I bet you got really strong hands from doing that.
Yeah, I did. And that's in my back and my upper body. I think that's also why I'm just partial to it because it's something that, I've been strong at for a long time. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, it definitely makes a lot of sense why I struggle with my leg days.
Okay,
but I also think there's massive potential because of that. That's most women actually struggle with upper body strength, and since you've done such a good job of building that, I think legs will respond and grow and develop.
So if you modify MAPS Anabolic at all, what I would do is take some volume from the upper body exercises and throw it to the lower body stuff. So literally, if it says 3 sets of rows, 3 sets of bench press, 3 sets of overhead press. You could do 2 sets of each, take that extra set of each exercise and throw it on your squats or your deadlifts or, your lower body exercises. That way, if you're looking to balance things out, because like I said, I've trained climbers and after years of climbing, you do develop a body that looks like you climb, which is small lower body, muscular upper body. So that'd be one way to modify. But even if you followed it as laid out, I think it'll blow your mind.
I mean, honestly, my recommendation would be follow it as it is for most people. It's like follow it exactly how we laid it out because I think you're going to learn a lot and get a lot just from that. And then when we come back around and do it again, I would make modifications based off of what you said to me. Like, you're like, man, I really wish my legs would come up even more. Then I would go exactly what Sal said.
Yeah, but you'll see some real good strength gains in your lower body from that program.
Awesome. Okay, sweet. Yeah, I will definitely do that. I have one little question about that. So when would you recommend for someone to do a split like this?
Here's the interesting thing about splits, okay? Here's when they start to make sense. Full body 3 days a week generally is best for most people, period. End of story. It's like 85% of people will do best on that. When it becomes advantageous to break the body up even more is when those full body workouts get really long. So, if you've got like really good recovery, you're doing a sprint in terms of adding volume to your workouts, and now you're doing the whole body, but you're doing like 9 sets per body part. I mean, you're in the gym for an hour and 45 minutes, then it starts to make sense to kind of break things up. So this is why you see bodybuilders train that way, typically.
Yeah, it's a bodybuilder type of training, right?
Yeah.
And it's
not that it builds more muscle.
No,
it's just that they train with such high volume.
And they're also extremely committed to never missing. And what we have found from training clients and ourselves is, vacation comes around the corner. Oh, I got sick last week.
There's less flexibility there.
So when you miss a day in a split, it really fucks up. It fucks up the routine. It's like, oh man, what do I do? Do I pick up where I left off, or do I start over again? And what ends up happening most often than not, people tend to skip the things they don't want to do, and they just do more of what they like to do, which is not necessarily what they need to do. Mm-hmm. And so when you run a full body routine, you could miss 2 of the days in the week, and you still are hitting the body evenly. And so you'll see this nice balance in that person's physique. And so I think that's part of the reason why people are so successful on a full body in comparison to
You're
a
less
split.
likely to overdo it with your legs, especially if that's something you don't train all that often. Like I know for me, I had to transition from split to full body was great because now it's like I have a tendency to kind of get in and crush the workout, and I did too much, and that to the point where it affected my next workout. So, you know, to spread it out a little more evenly like that really helped.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you guys.
We're sending that over to you, Brittany.
Thanks, Brittany.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
You got it. I train one dude who is a rock. I train a young lady too, who's a rock climber.
I've trained a few people. Yeah.
I'll never forget. I shook his hand.
Yeah, I know.
And I right when I shook his hand, I said, "Do you rock climb?" He's like, "How'd you know?" I mean, because he had
like Ben Greenfield.
yeah, and it wasn't just it wasn't his forearms, although those were muscular. It was his fingers.
It's his finger. That's like Ben
It's
Greenfield.
like fingertip. You can feel how tough they are.
Ben Greenfield's hands feel like you're shaking a 6'8", 300-pound dude's hands.
Yeah,
that's what his hands feel like.
Yeah,
but he's on what 100? What does he weigh?
180 pounds.
180 pounds at best. But his
callous
hands,
fingers.
his hands are all the big old sausages and they're calloused up, and totally.
Yeah. But I mean, to be a good climber, it's like it's all upper body size, lower body's
all leverage.
Great advantage though for a female client because that tends to be one of the more difficult. I mean, upper body strength is really hard for women to develop.
They will develop, and this is a fact.
It's less common.
Women develop lower body muscles better than they do upper body muscles.
Yes,
there's a disparity between men and women on the whole body. But the lower body is a smaller disparity.
Oh, I don't know if you guys remember this. I know I've had I had a lot of female clients that could outperform a lower body than my male clients.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot of clients that I trained that were the men that would crush some of what my female clients could do on the leg press and squatting and stuff like that. So you can, as a female, you can really develop the legs. And so the fact that that's her weak area also means lots of opportunity for building muscle.
Yeah, good point. Look, if you like Mind Pump, head over to mindpumpfree.com and check out some of our fitness and health guides. They're free. They cost nothing. Check them out. You can also find all of us on Instagram. Justin is at Mind Pump Justin. I'm at Mind Pump DeStefano. And Adam is at Mind Pump Adam.